everyone!
Hello again.
Welcome back. We are going to play Compile. Sarah and I got this recently, and it is a very fun two-player game.
It is.
And so, here we go.
Here we go. Well, what is Compile?
Compile.
What is this game?
Right? This is actually, if you have ever played Air, Land, and Sea, I think the name of it is. This has a very similar concept to Air, Land, and Sea, though it's borne out in a very different way. So, the whole point of this, first of all, there are several different factions, if you will, where you have death, and you have apathy, and you have speed, and love. But Sarah and I, and there's a ton of them. We also have the expansion in this, which included 3 additional ones.
Right.
And so Sarah and I have each chosen before the game. First of all, Sarah went first. Sarah's going to go first. And she has chosen gravity, water, and metal. And I have chosen spirit, darkness, and psychic. And each of these, as you can kind of see, has a theme that goes with it. And each of them also has 6 cards. And so you pick 3, each of us is going to pick 3 of them, or has picked 3 of them. And you shuffle those 18 cards together to form a deck. Again, 6 from each of these factions. And so, what we are going to be doing is, on our turn, we will play a card from our hand. Actually, we have different phases that are listed right on this playmat right here. Start, control, compile, action, cache, and end. And so, on your turn, basically, you're going to play a card from your hand and do anything that's on it. So, for example, this card at random says your opponent can only play cards face down, and then start. So during the start phase right here, flip this card. So I'll flip it face down, and instead of being a power of 1, it is now a power of 2. So you'll notice that every card on the back has a 2 on it, so you can play it face down. Now, I'm kind of jumping around in rules, so let's start back over with the object of this game is to
Win.
Win, that's right. Sarah's right. The object is to
win.
win.
Your opponent. I just spit. It just flew out.
Wow. Well done. So, each of these says loading on it. And on the back, it says compiled. So, the object of this game is to compile all 3 of your factions. Ooh. And the way you will do that...
the name of the game.
Compile. Now, the way you will do that is over the course of the game, you'll be playing cards into their respective rows. You must play a psychic card in the psychic row.
Right.
Or column, excuse me.
Yeah.
In the psychic column.
Unless
you flip it face down, then you can play it anywhere you want. Now, when you play a card, you will, as I showed with the earlier one that I don't remember where it went, but that's okay. So, the top, or excuse me, I guess I should start with the middle. The middle section is going to be something that happens immediately when you play it. And in this case, you may flip 1 covered card in this line. And the top thing and the bottom sections are basically always in play. However, when you play a new card, you will cover the bottom 2. Mm-hmm. Meaning that anything in this top section will still always be in play, but the bottom section, anything in the bottom section, for example, this, skip your check cache phase, that will be covered and you can no longer skip that phase. So once
each card has some kind of an ability, something that we can do as we play cards on top of it. Some of them will get covered up.
In addition to the value on the card.
In addition to the value. How many power do we need in order to be able to compile a row?
Yes, so you need at least 10 and more than your opponent at the start of your turn in order to compile one of your columns. And compiling will obviously, first and foremost, flip this over, and the first one to flip all 3 will win. And secondly, it clears the entire column, meaning both players' cards.
Ooh, so if I'm really close and I have 9 and you have 10 or 11, I have to get rid of all of mine, put them in the discard pile, and then start that row all over again.
Now, something else of note, a compile happens even if you have not compiled, or even if you have already compiled your faction on that side. Instead, what it does is it makes it so you draw a card from your opponent's deck.
Oh, right.
Now, that is, I think, probably as deep into the rules explanation as I would like to get for this. We'll kind of explain some other things as they happen.
Right, because you can shift. So for gravity, one of the abilities that I have on some of my gravity cards is shift, flip, and draw. And shift means I can shift my protocols. So now, if I did it that way, everything that I put in this column that was water, I'm now shifting, which means now I can play gravity in this column that used to be water.
That's actually...
And maybe that allows me to compile.
That is actually manipulate or rearrange. Shift generally refers to cards shifting.
Oh, you're right. Shift does refer to the cards.
But that is something
also something I can do.
Yeah, that is something that can happen.
I don't know all the words. I don't know all the words.
All right, so there's also this...
This is a little bit of a power struggle.
Yes.
Yeah.
This component over here that you'll see that happen.
So when you start this game, you have all of your different faction cards, and you have a little bit of a draft element. So the first player drafts 1 faction, and then the second player drafts 2, and then the first player drafts their remaining 2, and then the second player drafts their remaining 1.
So that you can see what your opponent chose before you continue.
So we just did that ahead of the game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards to start, and here we go. Okay.
So, start. Do you have anything that happens at the start of your turn? No. Control. Do you control 2 or more rows or columns?
Not at this point. Not.
Can you compile? No. So take your action.
Okay. Well, I am going to play this card in my water column, and it says it's 5. Are we calling this power points or something?
5 points.
5 points. You discard 1 card. So
speaking of, I should pull this out in case we forget something.
Discard that card, and that is my turn. So start, control, compile. This is my action. I'm checking my cache, which means that I can't have more than 5 cards in my hand. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And if
I don't have any end turn abilities on that card.
And if you do have more than 5, you have to clear your cache. All right. Then, by the way, you may choose to refill your hand instead of taking your action, by the way. So your action is either playing a card or refilling your hand. All right, so I am going to play Darkness, and this is a 1, and it says flip one of your opponent's cards.
Oh, come on.
You may shift that card. Now, let's see. I think I will leave it where it is.
That's very
annoying. This was water, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was worth 5.
All right.
Stinker.
My turn is over.
Okay. Fine. I will play in my gravity column.
Ooh.
It's worth a 6. Your opponent plays the top card of their deck face down in this line. Okay.
Alrighty then. I'm going to play this Psychic 0. It says draw 2 cards. Your opponent discards 2 cards.
What?
Then reveals their hand.
Nothing up my sleeve. Oh.
All right. That makes it your turn.
Okay, so hey, on my action,
Sarah is required.
So do I control
You do.
2? I do. So this just moves to my side.
So what that means is Sarah has has a higher power or higher. I'll look that up what it is, but a greater number in 2 out of the 3 columns. So she gains control of the component, which only comes into play when somebody. Well, actually, you can do it right now. When somebody refreshes or compiles.
Right. So since I can't have, it's my action phase. Well, I can't compile. So I did the control. I can't compile. It's the action phase. I have no cards, so I'm going to go ahead and refresh.
Yeah, so you
1,
must
2, 3,
refresh. It's just called the value. This is just the value.
That was really annoying. I had plans for those cards. I was very excited about those cards.
All right. I'm going to play this psychic card. Your opponent discards a card.
Would you stop doing that?
Shift one of their cards. Well, and everything in this game is mandatory unless it says may. So in other words, I must shift one of their cards. Same with the card that she had here that says you discard a card. You have no choice. You must do that.
Unless you don't have one in your hand. That would be the only time that you can't do it.
If you absolutely cannot do it, then you don't have to. Then you don't have to worry about it. I'm actually going to shift that there, just because.
Okay. I don't like what you're doing.
Why not?
Okay. So I will play this. Excuse me. In the water column, it says flip one other card. Well, I wonder which one I'm going to flip. This one that's worth 5.
Right.
And then flip this card, now making that worth 2.
Very nice.
I enjoyed that turn. That was a good turn.
I'm going to play this Psychic 4. And it says end, which happens now because it's the end of my turn. You may return one of your opponent's cards. If you do, flip this card. And I have to decide whether I want to keep this 4 here or if I want to return one of her cards. And I think I will return Gravity. The Gravity 6, which means this flips over.
Okay.
Heidi, Heidi,
Okay.
Heidi.
I will play this since this is my metal column, even though it has a water card in it. Draw 1 card. Delete all cards in one other line with 8 or more cards. We do not have that, so we can't.
And that includes both sides.
Do I still have control of 2 rows? I don't think I have control of 2 rows.
No, in fact, I have control. Good call.
So,
I have control of 2 rows, so I take this from you.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to do that. Yeah.
I smell rubber burning and I don't like it.
Okay. I'm gonna play this here. Spirit. It says refresh, which means I get to do the refresh stuff. So I get to draw back up to 5. And since I'm refreshing, I'm going to use this and I'm going to swap these 2.
Oh, interesting.
And draw back up to 5. And then it says draw 1 card. And then it says skip your check cash phase.
Right. That's a nice
so
little card.
I don't have to check my cash.
That was nice. Okay.
It was.
Okay. I will play this here. When this card would be covered or flipped, first delete this card.
Well, that isn't how I wanted to use this.
Oh, come on. Really? Gonna make me flip the card, huh? I've been saving it to put it on top of that.
Let me make sure that...
Mark's so mean.
All right, I'm gonna play this Darkness 2 card. And it says, first of all face down cards in this stack have a value of 4 instead of 2, which doesn't mean anything right now. And then it says you may flip one covered card. Oops. Never mind, that doesn't work. One covered card in this line, that doesn't do anything. Except, so that was a completely pointless play. Well, whatever.
How deep can you flip covered cards? Just the very next one?
Any of them. Any card that has a card on top of it is considered a covered card.
So you could have flipped this one.
I could have, but that wouldn't have made a difference.
Which I still would have had the 10 that I need.
Yep.
Okay.
So, by the way, everything in this game refers to cards that are not covered, meaning the top on any stack on both sides, unless it specifically says covered. And this card says, you may flip one covered card in this line.
Okay.
So in other words, if you're shifting or any of that kind of stuff, it must be the top card in any line. All right, well, that was a dumb play because I didn't read it all the way.
Okay, so it is now the start of my turn, and if you can compile, you have to compile. So I have to compile. So I remove all of these.
As do I.
I flip this over. It's now been compiled. Everything goes in the discard, and
that's it.
That is it. Okay, and now it is Mark's turn.
And I still have control of 2, so
yes.
I gain this again. And
I don't know that we said, but I think it's kind of obvious. The first person to compile all 3
yes, we did.
Is the winner. Okay.
All right, I'm going to play that in darkness. It says play one card face down in another line.
Oh.
And
nice.
I will play this one here. Your turn.
Okay, I will... Yikes. I will play this in the gravity column. Your opponent plays the top card of their deck face down in this line. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'll play this here. It says it's a darkness card. It says shift one face down card, and I will shift this card over to here.
That's nice. Okay. Well, I don't know that I can do anything about that. So I will play this in the gravity column. Flip one card. Shift that card to this line.
And when you flip something face up, you have to do the thing again.
Okay. Flip one other card.
Then flip this card. Yep.
I can flip something that's buried. I didn't think I could flip something that was buried.
No, it says flip one other card.
I thought that only applies to the top of everything.
Correct.
Okay. Oh, your cards.
Yes.
Oh.
One other card means any card that is not that one.
Right. All right, I will have you flip that one.
That makes sense.
And then I flip this card again.
Okay. You will compile in that row next time.
And you have 9 over there. You're so close.
I don't want to do that. Well, that is going to happen. So, I'm going to refresh.
Okay.
And I'm going to use this and swap these two.
Oh, that is mean.
And now it is your turn. And so, Sarah has 10 in this column, and she must compile.
Which does nothing.
Which means these all disappear, and she draws a card from my deck.
Lovely. Okay.
All right.
And it's the start of your turn, correct?
Yes, it's the start of my turn,
and
I still control
so
this.
you get the component again.
Oh, you're not going to like this either. I'm going to play Psychic here. It says your opponent discards 2 cards.
What in the heck? Why?
Rearrange their protocols. Now, this one doesn't matter, so I'll just do this because I have to. All right.
Okay.
Your turn.
Oh my gosh.
So now
I will refresh.
Refresh.
And it's Mark's turn.
All right, and I still have control of this, and I have more than 10 here, so I compile Psychic.
Wow. Well, you really manipulated that to your advantage.
I did, very much so.
I got mine fair and square without really hurting you at all. Just noting. And Mark was sneaky and underhanded and
that's the way to play this game.
Full of darkness and wow. All right. Okay, I will play this in gravity.
Okay.
You discard 1 card.
And by you, the card means the owner.
Yes. I will discard that.
All right, I'm gonna play this Spirit Swap. Excuse me.
Frog in your throat?
Right. Swap the positions of 2 of your protocols. And actually, I just realized that isn't as helpful as I wanted it to be, but that's all right. I'm gonna swap these.
Yeah, that would make the most sense.
Yep.
Okay.
And so here's another point. I don't anymore at the start of my turn, I didn't anymore have control of this, but you don't lose control of the component until you use it, or until your opponent takes it from you. So in this case, I retain this, even though I only control 1.
Right, you don't have to give it up. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay. I didn't remember that part. Okay, so I am play this in the water column. Play the top card of your deck face down in each other line.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
All right. I will play this card, Spirit. You draw 1 card. Or discard. Draw. You discard
That's the
1
opposite.
card. That happens to be the opposite. I will discard
Mark's trying to cheat
that
over
card. Your turn.
Okay. Okay, so you have 10.
I do.
And the component. So what would that allow you to do?
Well, I could shift the protocols before, but as long as you don't tie or get more value in this column, then I will be forced to compile this.
Okay. So if I put this here, which says shift 1 face down card to this line.
Very nice.
I now have more than you.
You do.
Okay.
Which means I do not compile.
Okay. And that's all I can do, right?
Okay.
Now it's your turn.
Yep. And I'm going to refresh, so I'm going to use this and do this to you again.
Okay.
1. All right. So, and when your deck runs out, you reshuffle.
I really need to get control of that component because
That's horrible.
I do not appreciate how you're using it against me. At all. I don't appreciate it.
By the way, well, you have to compile. You have more than 10 there.
I keep forgetting that. Again.
So these all go away again, and you draw another card from my deck.
Wow. I don't want your cards, I want to compile. Okay, so I had to compile.
So you draw a card from my deck. It goes into your hand.
Oh, whoops. Okay. All right, and that was all I can do on my turn.
Yes.
That did get rid of all of his, though.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah, it did. All right, so
This is a really interesting back and forth.
I'm going to play
Where I feel like Mark is cheating.
Darkness card. When she's not winning, she always feels
No,
like I'm cheating.
no, no. That's not true.
It's not.
It's not
All right.
true.
This Darkness 0 says draw 3 cards, shift one of your opponent's covered cards. Well, you have no covered cards, so that does nothing. But I drew a bunch of cards. Now I have,
you have to clear your
more than
cache.
5. I have to clear my cache. So I have to discard 2 cards. And I will discard that one. And that
one. Okay. I will play Gravity. Draw 2 cards. Oh, now I have to shuffle. Shift 1 card either to or from this line. So I think that's going to determine what I draw. If I shift to or
be
from.
determined by what you draw.
Yes.
That makes sense.
TBD.
I have to say, I really like the art on
Oh,
these
the art
cards.
is so pretty. I really like it.
It's really well done. The graphic design, you may not be able to see it, but all of the lines here have a silver sheen to them. They are silver printed. I'm not exactly sure what that's called, but it's metallic. It's a metallic sheen. All of the silver lines. It's very cool. And yep. Very, very cool. I'm gonna show this.
Okay. Oh, I have to do this. It's not my turn to play. Shift 1 card either to or from this line. So I have a question for you. If I were to play a card that says return one of your cards, and that's the only card I have, then do I play it, pick it back up again?
I think that would be the case.
Then what would you just, then you would never actually play it.
Well, if you keep playing it over and over, then yeah, that would be the case, and that would not seem to be the
No.
greatest decision.
It wouldn't. Shift 1 card either to or from this line. Okay. I'm gonna put this over here.
Okay.
All right. You put this upside down.
Oh, I did. How did that happen? All right, I'm gonna play this, and I have to discard a card.
Oh, you have 9. I don't like it.
Your turn.
Okay.
And you'll notice I control this column, and Sarah controls this column, which means nobody controls 2 columns, so this remains here.
Correct.
By the way, this has the turn order on it, if anybody is curious.
Okay, I will play this here, and it says for every 2 cards in this line, play the top card of your deck face down under this card. So that's basically under this card.
Yes. Very interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully that wasn't an amazing card that I wanted to play face up.
All right, I'm gonna play this Darkness card. It says flip one of your opponent's cards. Has to be that one. You may shift that card. Sure, I'll shift it over to here.
Okay. All right. I am going to play this here.
Okay.
Your turn.
I must compile.
Correct. Which means this goes in the discard pile.
And I am 2/3 of the way to victory.
I don't like it. All right, start of my turn.
Yep, you gain control of
I
the
have the
component.
component for the first time in the game.
You do.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I will play this in the water column, and it says return one of your cards, and that's why I was asking, because that would be really interesting if you just kept putting it back and forth.
That would be a useless
I will
play.
return this one.
Okay. Hmm.
Do you have to use this if you refresh?
No.
Okay.
But you risk, depending on the state of the board, you risk losing it and not being able to use it.
Right.
Hmm.
Our gerbils are making noise.
Mm-hmm. This is tough.
They're squeaking.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna play this psychic card. Your opponent discards 2 cards. Rearrange their protocols.
Would you stop doing that? That is so annoying.
That's the psychic.
Wow.
So, psychic has draw, manipulate, shift. Manipulate is what I'm doing. And in fact, I
yes,
think darkness,
you are being very manipulative. You're right.
Darkness also manipulates. All right, so
Don't
metal
like it.
is going to go. Let's just shift these 2. Yep.
All
Okay.
right. I will refresh.
Now you may use that now because you're
Right.
refreshing.
Can I use it on myself?
Yes.
Okay. Then I will use it and I will put this back. Stop messing with me. 4, 5. It's very annoying.
All right, then I'm going to play this.
Okay.
Your opponent discards a card.
Would you stop?
And then it says shift one of their cards.
My gosh. This is just the meanest thing. All right. Okay. I will play this here and I will discard this card.
Very nice play.
Well, it's
Oh, you're still at 9.
still only at
Right.
9.
I have to refresh. Oh, by the way, no, you didn't because I had that. Okay, never mind.
Correct.
I have to refresh, so I am doing so. Sarah's turn.
Okay. I have control over at least 2 columns.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and play this here.
By the way, I believe we mentioned you must play a card in its corresponding column that it comes from. So I have to play a psychic card here, but I can play any card face down in any row.
Right.
Now,
which is what
that
I've been
applies-
doing with Mark's stolen.
Yes, and that's what I was
Spirit
going to mention.
cards.
That when we first started playing this game, we didn't understand. Well, how am I supposed to play a card that my opponent owned? It apply the rule for the same faction, for lack of a better word, applies for the entire column, which means any card that she has stolen, she can still play face up as long as it's in the same column as my corresponding protocol.
I can?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
That's why I was playing
I
them
thought
face
I
down.
told you that.
Oh, I didn't know
sorry.
that.
Yes.
I did not.
So you can play
All right.
any of my
Ooh.
cards in the same line as
Okay.
my protocol.
I've just been using them to discard
Gotcha.
or play face down.
All right, well, this column will be compiled, so I'm not going to worry so
I guess
much
that's
about
even
that.
more of an incentive to steal your cards because
Yes, exactly.
I can play extra ones in that column depending.
Oh. All right, I'm going to play this Spirit 1. You can play cards in any line.
Oh.
Draw 2 cards. And then at the start of my turn, I have to either discard a card or flip this card.
Okay.
All right, and then I check my cash at 6, and so I have to discard
Oh,
a card.
wow. You are flush with cards again.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So that is
Excuse me.
cash, and then you will end your turn. Do you have anything on end turn other than that?
Sorry, hold on a second.
Okay.
I'll discard that. No,
Okay.
nothing on the end turn.
So I am compiling.
Yes, she
Yay!
is.
So this goes away.
Now, first, before you do that,
Finally get to
before
flip
you
this
do
over.
that, do you wish to use this? Because you can use it when you compile or when you refresh.
Right. No.
I know you want to flip. You want to swap those two, right?
Stop moving my stuff. Get away from my row. All right.
All right.
No.
So she's
but
going
I
to retain.
I still have it.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Even though I only have this one, I still have it. I
Yes.
don't have to give it up.
Right. That's what I was saying earlier.
Okay.
You don't
Just checking.
you don't lose it unless your opponent takes it from you.
Okay.
Or you use it, obviously. Okay, so it started my turn. I have to either discard a card or flip this card. I am going to discard this card so that I don't have to flip that. And as I already mentioned, it says I can play cards in any line. So I will play this card. Now, you'll notice this is one of the cards that it makes the most difference for.
Right.
So I have to do everything that it says. Meaning, so when I played it, I had to draw 2 cards. I may play cards in any line regardless of their faction. Oh no, did this thing quit? It quit.
Uh-oh.
That stinks. All right. Hold the phone while I...
Sorry for those of you that were hoping to have the green screen available for the close-up of the cards.
All right. We are going to start recording again here. Okay. So that is there. Okay. So I drew 2 cards. I now can play cards in any line. I don't have to because it says can. And then it says at the start, I must either discard a card or flip this card. So obviously if I flip it, then I lose everything on it. But if I discard a card, which I did, then that leaves me the opportunity now to, actually I'll do this here too, to play a card on top of it, which means that now this thing is covered and I can still play cards in any line regardless.
Very nice.
So I'm doing that. Now I can play cards in any line. And it says, draw 2 cards, your opponent discards 2 cards, then reveals their hand. So Sarah, I need you to reveal your hand again.
Doing it again.
All right, it's your turn.
Okay, well, I should probably refresh.
Uh-huh.
So
And you have the component, so you can still do that.
I do have the component. All right, I'm going to use it and shift my own.
That's a good call, since this is now the row that we are
the contested
column
row
that is contested. Yep. All
Okay.
right. So I will play this right here. Discard a card. Your turn.
Okay. No. I guess I'm gonna have to just go all in. You discard a card.
All right, I'm gonna play that there, which does give me 10. But it says end. You may return one of your opponent's cards. If you do, flip this card. And I think I need to do that.
I would think
So
you would.
I'm gonna return your 5 there, which means I have to flip this card.
Okay. All right, I will play this. Return all cards with a value of 2 in one line. Aha! Did it right back.
Wow, this is coming down to the wire.
Yes,
here.
it is.
All right. All right, I'm gonna play this darkness card that says shift one face down card. There are none, so it doesn't matter.
That is correct.
And I have 10, so if you don't at least get to 10, then I will compile.
Okay. I will play this card. You discard one card.
All right, therefore I do not compile because you now have, what, 12? Yes.
Yes.
All right, so then I will play this card here that says end. You may return one of your opponent's cards.
Oh,
If you do, flip this card.
Okay.
And I do still have, now I have more than you and 10. But it's up to you now.
You have 12.
Yes. So you could play that card again and we would be tied,
Yeah.
but then you leave it up to me.
Yeah. I think you have me. Because I have to discard a card.
Mm-hmm. All right, and we're tied, so no compile happens, which means I can play a card. I will play... Yeah, Sarah has to refresh in her next turn. So if I just take this and do this with it, then I now have
Okay.
14.
Yep. And
So
refresh.
Sarah must refresh.
Doesn't matter.
And
Your turn.
I must
and you have to compile. Oh, that was good.
And I win.
That was
wow,
really
that
good.
came right down
That
to the
was
wire.
really
It was
good.
a really good game.
Wow.
Cool.
Nice.
So that is compile, and then we separate these back out by their faction again.
So we found this game at PAX in Seattle. PAX West, is that what they're calling it?
Yes.
PAX West in Seattle in September. Is that when we went? I think it was around there.
Yeah.
And
Labor Day or Memorial Day.
we
weekend?
played
One of those.
at the demo booth, and he had sold all of his copies already.
Mhm.
This was such a hot game, and everybody loved it. We played a very, very partial game. He went to answer a question from somebody else, came back, we had packed it up, and we said, yeah, we already know we like it. We're going to go ahead and pick it up online.
Right.
And we spent the extra money to buy this mat. You don't need this mat, but I love it, and I do not regret buying this mat. It is
Right.
just awesome. And I mean, it doesn't fit in the box, obviously, but I think it was well worth it. So this game is a hit, especially with one of our friends.
And
It's
yes,
requested every single time we go over to their house.
we were considering buying him a copy,
Right.
but
He
they don't have any
expects
room
this
on their
to be
game
in our
shelf.
game bag every
Yep.
single time we go over, and he pulls it out pretty much every time.
And it
so,
packs down really nicely, especially if you don't have the playmat, and you don't need the playmat.
Right.
It just
but it adds
provides
to it.
an area for play.
Well,
for
it's just more of a really cool artwork.
Yes.
I love it.
Yep.
So that is Compile.
great two-player game,
It is a
two-player
great
only
two-player
game.
game.
But
There's
let me
a
see
lot of
here,
replayability
a
because
ton of replayability.
there aren't just 6 factions. How many are
Right.
there? Because we've got the
I
expansion as
don't
well.
remember.
The expansion came with,
3.
I think,
Oh,
was it
love, hate, and apathy.
hate, and apathy is what the expansion
So
came
there
with.
are 12 to begin with, and so that 3 faction expansion, which is really cheap, it's relatively cheap, is really it adds 3 new ones.
Mhm.
What am I saying?
I don't know.
Right? It adds 3 new factions. I can't talk.
Words. I think it might be time to feed
Bringing
Mark
it up,
lunch.
right? Bringing it up to 15, and so the endless combinations,
Right.
and I mean, obviously, there's mathematically there's
Oh
an
no,
end
it's
to
endless.
to
It's
the
endless.
number. But yeah, there's a ton of replayability in Compile.
Really fun game, and that was close. That was really
That was very
close.
Yep.
I got one right out of the gate, and then you got 2 almost right away.
And then
Through
you got
manipulation,
yours.
I might
Yes,
add.
manipulation.
Through manipulation. So
Which not all that's part of the replayability is not all of the factions have the same abilities, which is
Right.
what those are written on the bottom of them. And so if your opponent gets a whole bunch of all three of them or whatever with a bunch of draw, and you get none with any draw, then your opponent's going to be cycling through their deck, you know. But that doesn't mean that they are more powerful than you, because maybe you have a bunch of, you know, manipulate in there. And so even though they're drawing a whole bunch and they never have to spend a whole turn to refresh, that doesn't mean that you won't be able to swap their protocols around. And now all the cards that they're playing don't matter.
There's a really good balance.
So,
I feel like there's a really good balance with this game. Awesome. Well, we hope that you have enjoyed our play of Compile, and we think you should go pick up your own copy. If you
It is on Amazon.
Yes.
And it's
as well as the
map.
map.
Like $20 or something.
Everything's on Amazon. The game, the expansion, and the player mat is all on Amazon. So, and I think it's a really good price for this game. Yeah.
All right.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yes. And we'll see you next time. Have
fun
playing
games.
Bye-bye.
Bye.